I want to direct your attention today to the book of Judges, chapter number 16. And as you're finding it, I kind of want to set the stage. And I want to label some characters, and I want to open up the story to you and help us in the next few moments of time to get out of this passage and out of these series of scriptures an understanding that perhaps will help us in the hour in which we live. The book of Judges is often an overlooked book because most of the stories are very concise, very brief and short, and it covers a large span of time. It's overlooked because it seems that we're under the influence of the mighty man of God known as Moses as we enter into the Bible. Great patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses, the great lawgiver. Joshua, the great general. And the story goes on with power and pulse as we read through the pages of the Bible. And then we get to this book of Judges. And it seems there is a little bit of a lull, a few highlights in the book, and then shortly we move right on into the great King David, and we begin to hear of David's fighting against Goliath, and how that this man David became the man after God's own heart and the ruler over the nation of Israel, and the great king whose name is still spoken so often amongst those who serve the Lord. But there was this brief intermission between Joshua, who carried the people of God into the promised land, and the great King David, who reigned over them with such honor and brought them to such a level in God. There's a moment, a parenthesis, a brief period in time when there is no king. The people of God have no king. And it is this book of Judges, but we have to understand that even though we say they have no king, we only mean that they have no earthly king. There is no man who sits on the throne. The fact of the matter is, I believe the book of Judges is more in tune with what God had planned for Israel than possibly any other book of the Bible. Amen. It was God's desire to sit over His people as their king. So God Himself was seated upon the throne, the only lawgiver. He was responsible as king for their defense and for their provision and for their prosperity. And in His stead upon the earth were those who were called not kings but judges. And they were judges in Israel because they were not given to make law. They were given to keep the people of God living under the law and with the law of the king. And so they were merely to judge the law, to know had your neighbor wronged you or not. Were we living as a nation in the ways that God wanted us to live? And so if I could just bring it down to this point, I believe Judges is a better picture of God and His church than any book that contains a king. Amen. It is God who sits as supreme governor of the church of Jesus Christ. It is God who sits upon the throne. Not we, but God who sits upon the throne. And we are given the role of judges. I know you hear constantly, you can't judge me, you can't judge me, don't judge me, don't judge me. But if you'll do a little bit of scriptural search, it wouldn't take very much, you would find that that is the sole purpose of the governing ability of the church. Amen. Hallelujah. It is our place to judge whether something is of God or whether it is not of God. It is the place of the saints of the Most High to recognize wickedness and to know goodness when we see it. It's our our place to judge between that which is true and that which is error. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Praise God. We don't make the rules.
Right.
But we should have something in us that causes us to recognize them.
That's right. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
And so in the book of Judges, I believe that you're going to see, if you'll read through it, multiple times that there's a type and shadow of the role of the church
All right.
under the kingship of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Hallelujah. These judges were not kings. God was the king. Chapter 16 and verse number 4 will pick up in the midst of a story, and I'll tell you a few parts of it that are not here, that are in the previous chapter. A story that many are familiar with, at least to some degree, and that is Samson. Samson, the mighty man, Samson, the strong man, Samson. Samson was such a character, such a person, not simply a literary character, but an actual physical living man. That the presence of God would come upon this man. First of all, you need to know that his mother was barren and unable to have children, and that an angel of the Lord visited her. And when the angel of the Lord visited her, he said, I know that you have been barren, but you are going to give birth to a son. And he gave her specific instruction. And that instruction was so that she could lead that young man and guide that young man to his destiny that God had given for him. She told him, the angel told his mother certain things that he was not to partake in his life and not to have anything to do with. Samson came, and he was such a man that when he was compassed about by the enemy, he would shake himself. And when he shook himself, something miraculous began to happen. I know I've seen picture paintings and drawings of the man Samson, and they always show him as a great muscular figure of a man, narrow at the hips and wide at the shoulders with big, now y'all settle down now, big beefy arms. And I don't know that he was or that he wasn't. I know that it was not necessary for him to be such a figure. If God's Spirit came up on him, he could have been of any size or shape, because it was not in the muscle of his arm, nor in his ability to do the things that he was able to do.
Right.
They laid a trap for Samson, and they decided they would capture him. The Philistines decided this, and Samson got up in the middle of the night and left and grabbed the gates of their city. On his way out, tore them from their posts,
Right.
carried them on his back as he went, because he could.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Just because the Spirit of the Lord would allow it. Hallelujah. Sometimes your enemy captures you, encircles you, encamps around about you, plots and plans against you. And just because God don't mind showing off a little bit, he said, I'm not just going to slip you out in the middle of the night. He said, but on your way out, why don't you grab their gates, toss them up on your shoulders, rip them from their posts, and carry them home. I'm going to give God some praise. God, can do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or even think. Perhaps you're in a moment in your life right now where you're thinking, oh God, if you would just allow me to escape. Oh God, if you would just allow me to slip out under the cover of darkness and move from the place where I am and just get out with my life.
God, what a God. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
My God. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord.
Samson's father threw him a party, and Samson gave a riddle at that party. and told him, made a deal, as it were, with the young men that were there. He said, I'm going to tell you a riddle. And if you can tell me the riddle, tell me what it means, I'll give you 30 changes of garments. If you cannot tell me what it means, you'll give me 30 changes of garments.
That's right. That's right.
The riddle was, out of the eater comes meat, food.
Yeah.
And out of the strong comes sweet.
That's right.
They pondered and they pondered and they pondered. What Samson knew was that with no one looking, God had allowed him to grab a hold of a lion.
Yeah.
And under a moment of the unction of the Spirit of God,
My God.
the Bible said he tore asunder that lion as if it had been a kid of a goat.
My God, my God.
Then he passed by the carcass of that lion, and bees had made a beehive in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And in the beehive was honey.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Solomon reached in and ate honey. Now what he meant by his riddle was the lion was strong
Right.
and food had come out of the lion. Hallelujah. Amen. But nobody knew that. Now Samson had one problem.
Well,
He loved the ladies.
yes, he did.
And there was this old gal, there was this young lady,
Oh, gal.
that was a daughter of the enemy. Boy, did he like her.
Yes, he did.
And the Bible said that those young men came to her. And they said, we're going to lose a lot of money here on this deal because we cannot figure this out.
That's right.
Can you talk him into telling you what this riddle is? And she turned on the waterways.
Oh, yes, she did.
Oh, Samson, how could you tell a riddle and not tell your own dear, sweet love of your life what this riddle means? And after much persuasion, you ladies know how you are, he told her.
Well,
He told her. And now he owes a lot of people 30 changes of garments because she spilled all of his business right out in the streets. Now, I said when I started that I don't know of any more proper, better picture of God seated as king. This is before there were any men that sat as kings. And the church seated as the judge. That's the picture. But God's church has the same problem Solomon had. We love flattering voices. God has given us treasure in earthen vessels and riddles that are not for the world to understand. He's given us the deep things of God. And he said, cast not your pearls before the swine, or else they will trample under their feet. But there's something about the church. Samson, the strong man, the one who can tear the gates off of a city, the one who can kill 1,000 people with the jawbone of a mule, the one who can grab that old lion and rip him down like he's nothing, just tear it and reach in and get honey. Something about this miraculous body, this powerful Samson, that is, that when flattering lips call upon our ears.
All right, all right.
Amen.
And I'm going to pick this up here in verse number 4 of chapter 16. Judges 16 and verse 4. It came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. Now, you might already know, Delilah is not a daughter of Zion.
Right.
Delilah is is not a lover of God,
Right.
a worshiper of the Most High. Delilah is on the enemy's side. The church had no business falling in love with her to begin with. But somehow or other it has displayed in Samson that he has a weakness, and that weakness is the beauty of the enemy.
My God. Amen.
Now, Babylon represents an enemy of God. Babylon is that city over there, that city over the hill, that the way they do it over there. Philistines are different. Philistines live right next door to you. Philistines are in your everyday life. That's not that big party over there. Philistines live right here. Philistines are where God says you're going to go into the land and you're not going to have pity on anything that worships any other way than what I have instructed you to worship. You're not going to have pity on them. You're going to purge the land, and you're going to remove them, and you're going to overturn them, and never did he expect for you to fall in love with them.
All right. Bye.
So here we have a very strong church with a love affair of that we're supposed to be purging.
All right.
From our
Preach.
midst.
Now preach. Amen.
Verse number 5 says, And the Lord of the Philistines came unto her and said unto her, Entice him.
Yeah.
See wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to what? Afflict him. And we will give thee, every one of us, 1,100 pieces of silver.
Wow.
So Delilah said unto Samson, Tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mayest be bound to afflict thee.
Yeah.
Is anybody else astonished
Come on.
that she was so plain?
Come on.
I'm a bit blown away. You see, when they tell us it's the church, that they want us to come together to compromise and to counsel together, the fact of the matter is, we're the only ones with anything to compromise.
All right. All right.
Amen.
They've already sold it all.
That's right. Right.
And with flattering lips, God's strong church,
All
Samson,
church. My.
that can tear the gates off of a city,
Say on.
will lay in the lap
My Lord.
of what we should be purging.
My Lord, my Lord.
While it teases from us, what is your source
Lord Jesus.
of strength? How have you, Pentecostal, crazy, holy rolling nutcases that you are,
Yeah.
meeting on the Sabbath?
Right.
What is the matter with where is your strength? And they tease it from us and pull it out of us with flattery.
Yeah.
So Samson doesn't fall right away. She wants to know. Verse 7, Samson said unto her, If they bind me with 7 green cords, 7 green strips, and they'll bind me with that, and then they've never been dried, then shall I be weak and as another man.
Right.
So here's what they did, Trey. They came to our funny little meetings, our unusual little worship services.
Yeah.
And they teased us a little to find out what's going on over here in this movement.
Right.
Why are you emptying out our dead, dry churches?
Right.
Why are you emptying out the bars and the byways?
Yeah.
Why are people filling up your churches? Why is this happening? And oh, it's the music.
Right.
Ah!
Okay.
It's your music. And then we said, yeah, we got better music than they have over there. It's our music. And so they ran and they took our music and they put it on TV and they multiplied millions.
Well. That's right. Now preach. Amen. Good God. Bye.
Now, there were men lying in wait, verse 9, abiding with her in the chamber, and she said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. Here's what I want to say, church. You know who Samson is? It's us.
Tell it.
Samson. Samson. Samson! Samson! The Philistines are upon you!
Amen. My. Amen.
My Lord.
Say on.
Shake yourself!
Say on.
Samson! Hear the preacher today! The Philistines are upon you!
Amen.
They thought they found your source! And they come to take your heritage! They learned to preach like you! They learned to sing like you! They learned to have church like you! Samson, wake up! They come to capture your future! They come to bind you and take you out, Samson!
Hallelujah.
The Philistines
To God be the glory.
are upon you. And we live at a moment in history where we've already gone, and I can read on down every possible avenue. They came back and said, that didn't do it. Come on, dig deeper. Find out what's really going on in those churches. The music didn't do it. What really is it? Well, they scream and they sweat when they preach. All right, let's try that. And they tried that. And they tried the next thing and the next thing. But finally, Delilah comes to Samson and she says, you do not love me.
Come on now. My God.
And he says, all right.
Oh Lord.
There's been a vow upon me since I was a child. There's been a separation about me, something very different from everybody else you've ever met, something that sets me far apart from everyone you've ever known. There's something even from a child that's been upon me. I've not always recognized it. I've not always acknowledged it. I've not always cared about it, but it's been there every day of my life. It has set me apart from everybody around about me, and I'm about to reveal to you that thing that has set me down.
My God.
True.
Tell it.
And he told her what it was. After multiple times of him saying this would do it, that would do it, wrap me up with this kind of cord, tie me up with that kind of cord, tie me up with this, tie my hair down with that. If you'll do this, if you'll do that, if you'll do the other thing. And every time she declared with great glee, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. And now here you and I are, upon whom the ends of the world has come. We're at the end of this story, Brother Mark. There's not a moment to lose. There are no more times to try.
Come on, preacher. Preach. My.
And it is at this moment that the Bible said that she caused him to sleep in her lap.
Mandible Saha.
And in 2015, I've never known a church that was more sleepy.
Come on. Come on.
My God.
Come on. Preach it.
I've never known a church that was easier to pet,
My God.
easier to rock to sleep.
Look at his flower.
Sleep, Samson.
Yeah,
This is your
my.
enemy talking. Sleep, Samson. Sleep, Samson.
My Lord.
And I'm telling you, the power of Pentecost has never been in our music.
Tell
That
it.
is a result of the power.
Tell it.
The power of Pentecost
Tell it.
has never been in our worship.
Tell
That
it.
is a result of the power. But Pentecost was poured out on praying people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pray it.
We're good at singing now.
Yeah.
We're good at clapping.
Oh.
We're good at dancing.
Yeah.
We're good at worshiping.
Right.
But the Bible said, my house shall be called the house of prayer. Are we any more good at prayer? Or have we gone to sleep in the lap of the world that we were supposed to pray? Are we no longer awake? Are we no longer praying? If we have dry altars, we'll have dry baptism in prayer. Listen, Samson! The Philistines are upon you!
My God, my God, my God.
There's no time for joking and no time. I love to have a good time, but listen, we're at a moment in history where I'm watching the news pour out off of the television screen, ungodliness into my own living room. I'm looking around me and I'm watching as pastors are being silenced and churches are being shut down and things are happening because we fell asleep in their lap. And in an hour where our mega churches, Christianity is dying.
Yeah. That's right.
We have the biggest churches we've ever had and the fewest Christians.
My God, my God.
Large churches and empty baptism.
That's right.
Come on now. You said something.
That's right. Tell that. Amen. My God.
Samson,
Said something now.
did you forget what brought you to where you are?
Right.
Did you forget your connection? Because it was never in that music to begin with.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
My God.
Every rock star out there has a gospel album.
Oh, yeah.
All right, y'all know it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all know it.
Don't believe that.
Come on.
No, it's not there. That's not where it is. I'm telling you today, if we don't shake ourselves,
Tell.
if we don't wake up, and we don't start praying,
Tell.
Yes. Huh.
My God.
look at verse 19. She made him sleep upon her knees.
My God.
Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, praying, great drops of blood dripping from him.
Pray.
As he agonized, as he knew what was upon him, as he had a vision of how the next 24 hours would unfold and the evil that would take place and the dancing that would go on in dark demonic corners, as he knew what was happening, as he knew the plot was thickening, as he knew Judas was selling, as he knew the Sanhedrin in the court were figuring out how to capture him, as he knew all of that was happening, he prayed with agony, and the capillaries in his body began to burst, and out through his sweat glands came great drops of blood.
Come on.
And I know you got a beautiful picture of him kneeling down at a rock,
Right.
My God. My God.
but the man's soul was being wrung out
True.
like a dish rag. His insides were being pulled. His spirit was being twisted and moved. And even the Lord was praying, if it's possible.
My God. My God. My God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father.
And in a prayer meeting like that,
My.
he lifted his head,
Mama.
and the church was asleep.
My God. What that? What mess?
And he said, couldn't you
My God.
pray with me
1 hour.
an hour? The Bible said they went up at the hour of prayer.
Yeah, now.
Did y'all get
Yeah.
the hour of prayer? The old song said, sweet hour of prayer.
Yeah.
The hour of prayer has gone to a word
My Lord.
of prayer.
Come on.
Right.
You better know it.
Right.
We're going to have a word.
Wow.
An hour of prayer has gone to a word of prayer. A word of prayer is not always acceptable. Sometimes we need a moment of silence.
That's what
Well.
That's what we
Well.
Let's have a moment of silence. They captured Peter. They put him in a prison. And the Bible said prayer was made by the church without ceasing.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's your power.
All right.
Yes, it is.
It's not in all this hollering I'm doing. It's not in all the music we sing.
Tell it.
Look, she made him, verse 19, she made him to sleep on her knees.
Yes.
While he was asleep, she called for a man to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him. Those who have teased our essence from us. Those who we were so happy that they were now accepting us.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there's one God, Jesus, name,
Tell it.
apostolic
Tell
preachers
it.
that are falling in love
Oh, yeah.
All right.
with the pulpits
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's right.
and the glory that comes with the line.
My God.
Look at this last part of verse 19. And his strength went
Yeah.
from him.
God.
Samson! And she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and look what he said. He said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself.
Yeah.
Look how sad this is.
My God.
And he wist not, he knew not, that the Lord was departed.
All right.
My God.
My.
Is it possible, old Pentecostal church,
Oh, yeah.
that we come down here and shake ourselves week after week?
Tell it.
Shake and buck and jump and run and holler and scream and shake and don't even know
Don't even know.
that the presence
My
of
God.
the Lord has left. Now, I'm not making an accusation. I tell you what, there are very few churches in the land that I could preach this to and have any confidence that they were still on target.
Right. Right.
That's a fact. So I preach it to you absolutely not as a way to rake you over the coals, but rather to say, wake up, Samson. Get up, Samson. Let's go tell this Delilah what our power is. Let's go backslide laying in her lap.
Amen.
My God.
Amen.
Now watch what you get better. Oh, Pastor, you got us over a bad spot here.
Yeah.
How's that? All right, praise God. We got to go through this bad. Y'all stick with me for a few minutes while I go through the bad spot.
Sorry.
I'll go out and shake myself. He wished not that the Spirit of the Lord had departed from him. Verse 21, the Philistines took him and put out his eyes. The church round about us is as blind as they've ever been.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Amen.
They're blind.
Yes, sir.
No light comes into a blinded eye.
That's the fact.
There's a church around about us that is shaking and rattling and rolling and shouting and running and screaming, and they're blind and there's no light.
No light, no law.
That's right.
All darkness.
The law is light.
They brought him down to Gaza. They bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. We're in an era in the church, ladies and gentlemen, where the church has been put to the grind. We have no light. We have no sight. When I say we, I'm talking about the church at large. There's something that's going on in the land of blindness where the enemy has teased us and the enemy has blinded us, and there's no light in the church, and we're working out day after day. And verse 24 said, when the people saw him, they praised their God.
My Lord.
While the church is asleep and blind, they don't celebrate a holiday that praises Yahweh God.
Amen.
But they, in the midst of worship and in the midst of prayer and in the midst of the church, they erect a holiday to a false God.
That's right. My God.
Right.
My God. Nothing but the truth.
My. Where was I? 24. And when the people saw him, they praised their God. They said, our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport. Now, for those of you who are not very familiar with this Old English King James, they said, call for Samson so he can entertain us.
Yeah. Entertain us. Entertain us.
The church has been reduced
That's it.
to a moment of entertainment.
That's all.
My Lord. Come on now.
That's all.
Call for Samson to give us a good feel-good show.
That's right.
Call for Samson to make us hop and jump and enjoy ourselves from all. Call for Samson. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport.
My God.
And they set him between the pillars, And Samson said unto the lad that held it by the hand, because he was blind now, suffer, allow me, that's what suffer means, allow me, that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and the lords of the Philistines were there, and there were on the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson entertained them. And Samson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me.
Remember me.
Remember when I used to pray like the house was on fire. Remember when I prayed about everything. Remember when I would lay on the floor for hours and talk in tongues. Remember when the Bible was opened by my chair all hours of the night. Remember when I used to walk with you. Remember how it used to be when I first got the Holy Ghost. Remember how I wouldn't miss a service for anything. Remember how I worshiped and jumped. Remember how I called on the Lord. Remember you.
Hallelujah.
And strengthen me, I pray thee.
My God, my God, my God.
O God, that I may be at once avenged of these Philistines for putting out my eyes. And Samson took hold of the two middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. Blind and defeated and useless for anything but entertainment.
Right.
Samson said, I suppose he had a moment where in his blinded state he drifted back to the early church. And he began to reminisce how it was. But it wasn't his shaking that brought the power of God, but it was the power of God that brought the shaking.
My God.
Right.
And he can hear all around him the jeers and the laughter going on. He's far away from God, not in his hometown anymore. They've taken him somewhere else.
My Lord.
And he's very much where you and I are today, in the land of the Philistines.
Amen.
Surrounded by those who were supposed to execute.
Right, exactly.
Right.
He says to a young man, he says, listen, could you lead me?
Yeah.
He's thinking, I'm feeling something. Hey,
Tell it.
ooh, I remember how you could you, is there a pillar somewhere? I hear people upstairs. There must be, is there an upstairs? Okay.
All right.
Young man, I need to lean on something for you.
Come on now.
And they led him. And they get a lot of young men. So there's one. Oh, thank you. What's this? Oh, that's another. Yeah, I'll be good. I'm all right.
Hallelujah.
And he said, God, you remember how it used to be?
Yeah.
You remember camp meetings? You remember all-night prayer meetings?
Amen.
You remember spending time at the altar and not just singing? Do you remember when they started singing, I couldn't stay in my seat? You remember those days? You remember how I used to just, they'd sing Amazing Grace and I'd just shout and cut a rug. You remember those days, God? Yeah, I remember them too.
Wow.
If you would,
Lord have mercy.
if you bring that back on me for just a minute,
Lord have mercy.
I'll bring the whole kingdom
My God.
of these Philistines crumbling down.
Lord have mercy.
Now, here's what the Bible says. You can't miss it. He reached down and he grabbed those two pillars. Verse 29, Samson took hold of the two middle pillars upon which the house stood and on which it was borne up. One in his right hand, the other in his left hand. And Samson said, let me die. I want to tell you something. I got to give you a little more than verse here. Is that all right? Let me die. And he bowed himself
All right.
with all of his might And in his mind, he's bowed before Jehovah God.
That's right. Amen.
And as he bows in worship to God, that holds up the other system is forced. Can I say it like this? And every knee shall bow. And every tongue confess. And Samson says, here we go. And he bows. And his arms do not budge when they meet the resistance of stone pillars. It pulls them over like they are made out of aluminum foil. He bows and they bend under the unction of the Holy Ghost.
Hallelujah.
My Lord, my Lord.
Oh God.
And Samson said, let me down to the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might. And the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. Now watch. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they that he slew in his life. Oh, Pastor, don't tell us we got to die. It's exactly what you got. We got to die to this nature that is causing us to care whether or not those around about us like what we're saying or doing. We got to,
Hallelujah.
All right.
you and I have got to die to our wristwatches and the clocks on the wall. I've got to do it. I've got to stop letting it govern me. I've got to say, there's time to go to the altar. There's time to slide down in the pew. Oh, and begin to call on the name of the Lord like it used to be. Some of you are not here. Some of you don't remember. But I remember. I remember how it used to be. I remember laying on the floor. I remember laying on the floor at midnight. I remember laying on the floor talking to the Lord. I remember when every voice around about me just drifted away and I could no longer hear it and I no longer knew what time it was. I remember calling out and praying under the power of the Holy Ghost, and it's been too long.
Hallelujah.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
I remember when you came to church and didn't know when you were going home. I remember when we came and had no idea what time we were leaving. I remember going to camp meetings and the owners of the restaurant would stay up till midnight and 1 o'clock waiting on us to get done praying because they were hoping we were going to come there and eat. They wanted to close at 10, but those Pentecostals were still down there having an altar service, still talking in tongues.
Praise
My
God.
God, my God, my God.
We got to die to whatever it is that's made us need to go home.
Come on
And we've
now.
got to die to whatever it is that's made us not go to the altar.
Come on.
You know where our strength is? It's not in music. It's not in shouting. Our strength is in these altars. Our strength is on our knees. Our strength is with our faces turned up and our hands opened up and our mouths calling on the name of the Lord and praying hour after hour after hour after hour. I'm calling you to prayer, church. I'm calling you to prayer. That's what I'm doing today. I'm calling you to prayer, but I'm calling you to prayer with this warning. Samson! The Philistines are upon you! Come on, come on, come on. Come on in this house, hallelujah. You're in an hour, you're in a day, you're in a time when the Philistines are upon you. Education is on you. Time restraints are on you. Needs are on you. Everything is surrounded you.
My God, my God, my God.
Everything's surrounded.
Oh, God.
Hallelujah.
Oh, Lamb of God.
Brother Vaughn, if we do church as usual,
My God.
as we're surrounded on all sides, if we do church as usual, we're going to hop up here,
That's
grab
right.
our microphone, click
Right.
the music on, and
Yeah.
shake ourselves.
Right, right.
And got no idea why we can't cast out a devil.
Oh, glory.
Tell it, tell it, tell it.
Hey, Lord.
Can't remember the last time somebody got healed.
Yeah, tell it, tell it.
Don't know when people had to be carried home because they were drunk in their spirit.
My God, my God.
Amen.
Yes.
Now, now.
Have mercy.
Philistines are on
My God.
you. Did y'all hear it?
Yeah.
Samson, church, strong one who used to tear gates off the cities. You're asleep. You're being stroked and petted.
Oh, glory.
The Philistines are on you. The Philistines. How many of y'all right now are going through something that is just keeping you up at night, troubling you? I know we got people that are just going through stuff. You're going through stuff that's costing you money. You're going through through stuff that's keeping you up at night. You're going through situations. Listen, you're going through stuff's got your bank account messed up.
Yeah.
You're going through stuff. You got stuff. They're trying to cut stuff off. Am I the only one?
Talk to somebody.
My Lord, my
Talk
Lord.
to somebody.
So hear me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Philistines are on. What are you going to do?
My God.
Y'all want to just shake? We'll just have church and shake.
Yeah, come on now.
Y'all want to just do that?
Come on.
Anybody got a favorite song? We'll just shake, go on the
That's
house.
right.
And go to the house broke and hurt and struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, come on.
Hear me? I love to get up here and teach on stuff, show you all the depths of, where this came from, where that came from. But there's a call that came into my spirit. God said, the Philistines are on you, Samson. Are you praying anymore? The Philistines are taking over your home. They're taking over your home. Your people in your church, sitting on your pews, are broke and hurt and discouraged and weeping and wailing and cannot see light, and their eyes are being black and darkened. And what are you doing? What are you doing, Samson? The Philistines are on you. Do you hear me today? Come on, do you hear me?
Yes, sir. My God.
So what do we do?
I know it. I know it.
Well, what do we pray? What do y'all think?
Tell it.
Let's all stand.
Good God.